Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing. Can anybody hear me? Can you hear me on the stream? Awesome. Thanks, guys. So here we go. We've got the BCS Summer Cup Draft. This is my first time using this software to stream. Thanks for the thanks Scumsy. Appreciate it. That's the stock music they give you on the software. Let's see. So I've got the draft board over here on the left. We've got the picks in order up here at the top. So it's a snake draft. We'll start with veggie going down through the first round. No changes. And then so the Boggle over here, he is the last pick of the first. This is the top pick of the second. First round, nothing has changed. Although there was a trade last night between Pattis and Bazo to swap the 2.5 and the 2.11 and the 3.2 and the 3.8. So Bazo jumps back in the second round, but climbs in the third, and Pattis jumps up in the second and down in the third. That's where we're at with that. And I'll also update this on the bottom here, on the bottom right of your screen. I'll update the actual rosters as we go so people can more easily see what's going on there. Let's see. And I've got Discord pulled up over here. We're doing the picks on Discord. Captains will be in the captain's chat. Although Discord's being pretty slow now that I've got the stream up. There we go. Okay. So predictions for the first round here. Let's see. I had some. Let's see. Delete that one. I had some mock drafts and stuff where we were trying to see if it would be more balanced to do a snake or a traditional draft. We're done with both of these now, though. But anyways, we've got Veggie, Pattis, and Sween as the top of the draft board. So if you guys have any predictions for who's going to go first overall, feel free to drop those in the chat. And I will I'll read those off over here as well. Is Fire anti-Florida? Gotcha. Yeah, Fire. A lot of people saying Fire in the chat. Pretty obvious here. Some people saying it's leaked. Veggie does have the first pick, and he is letting Bazo auto draft for him. So the only pick that he actually selected was the player going first here. Pattis also only making one selection and then letting another player draft for him. And then let's see, I've got some more. I think Apollo and Tio saying invite the party. Let's see, I've got Apollo's draft list here and Foggle's draft list here as well. Oh, Foggle will be here. Okay, cool. Cool. 5-minute countdown to the draft here as we're still waiting on Mr. Corn, who is messaging in the YouTube, so he's probably available now. Any predictions from the chat on the first 3 picks? Everybody saying Fire go on 1.1. What about 1.2 and 1.3? Who are going to be the first 3 players off the board here? Who's going to be the biggest faller of the B+ rank as well? That's a good question there. Also, we've got Kirko, Jogden, Puffy, and Ballstack here. Those guys, they had perfectly even poll results, so they can act for either tier. So the captains aren't allowed to draft out of the top tier until the last player. So let's say if the Skials here is the last player in this tier, Kirko can act as a B-, and he would be the last true B+. So I want to clarify that for the captains. So it's the last true player of that rank that you can't draft below. Although the captains last night, they polled and they voted that let me make sure before I announce that. Yeah, it was unanimous. It looks like 7 votes yes, no votes no. But the captain who's picking the last B+, which in this case would be 4, 5, 6, 7, the 1.7 Apollo, he has the choice of going down to B-, but then Bazo would have to take the 7th player right there. So that's auto locked if you get that far. So that way the last captain picking from that tier at least has a choice on who to pick. But also players aren't falling too far. We passed that because in years past when we've done a draft, teams have reached historically reached on players that they shouldn't have reached on. They might have even taken that player around early just because they didn't know who they were drafting. They might have reached and got a player that, like in this case, if you're one of these last 3 captains, Veggie, Pattis, Sween, if you're drafting at the end of the second, some of them would go ahead and take the player they're looking for, and then when they could have probably gotten that same player at the 3.3. They take them at the 2.10 here. So we did that to help the teams be a little more even on that. So 2-minute countdown. Miho, still waiting on him. Let's see. I think I can put on different music here too, I think. Let's see, what's this? Into Space? All right, guys, it's time for the BCS Summer Cup Draft. This will be a 1-month-long tournament, double elimination brackets, multi-mode, drop zone, and cargo. There's no player trading after the draft here, so the picks that you see here will be final. Because it's such a short tournament, it doesn't make any sense to add more confusion by switching players and all that. So captains were given 24 hours to trade their picks. And they can trade picks during the draft as long as the pick hasn't passed yet. But any players that are drafted by the team are on that team unless the admins give permission for someone to swap teams. Other than that, like I said, it's going to be a 1-month tournament, $400 grand prize to only the winner, double elimination. And it should be pretty rapid fire. We're going to play a lot of games per week. Might have some double headers. Games will be pre-scheduled. So Friday nights and Saturdays during the day. Maybe have some flex games on Sunday. We'll see. We'll see what we got going on. But we could figure there signing up after the thing's already closed. But anyways, we are underway. The first pick of the BCS Summer Cup Draft goes to Veggie, and that player is, to no one's surprise, Firebringer. That'll be the very first pick. With that being said, the second pick, let me put it down here real quick before I get too far ahead of myself. Fire. With that being said, the second pick in the draft has already been pre-selected, and that will be Zan, going second overall to Pattis. Now Zan will be doing the rest of the drafting for Pattis for the rest of the evening. And with that being said, Sween is on the clock, and I will tag him in Discord. Each captain has 3 minutes to respond, and then it'll auto pick the next highest ranked player. So if the auto pick were to go through here, it would be Swaggy going to Sween. But in the meantime, I'm predicting Clumsy to go here. I could also see Restless go here, but I think most people are expecting it to be Clumsy. Let's see if I'll check the comments while I'm waiting on this. Unless Swain maybe sent me his. He might have sent me his draft list. I don't think so. Well, waiting on Swain now. If you're on Discord, spam tag him. Get him to show up. He's got 2 minutes left. Really no surprise there on the first 2 picks. Fire, I think everybody already knew he was going first overall, and he brings, excellent objective play to any team that he's on, as well as some slaying power. Zan as well. I'm not super surprised there. Pattis took him. I was a little curious if he would take Swaggy instead with the OGYB loaded diaper connection there from times in the past. But going with the younger gun here. The old man's pushed to the side. Pattis leaving his mentor in the dust. Still waiting on Swain, man. He's on Discord. I don't know what he's not doing. He's online. We'll call him. What a loser. What a loser. Mendo does not like the music. Sorry, Mendo, I'll fix it. Let me see what else I got. I got all kinds of music that can. They auto loaded some music here for me. Is this right here better? Yeah, it's looking like I'm going to have to auto pick for him. I'm going to give him Clumsy. Sorry, Swain. Kind of being a dummy right now. No offense, but it's a dummy move. I would normally pick the highest rated player here, but we knew he was going to take either blue or clumsy. So, with that being said, Scumsy, you're now on the clock. And I think most people are expecting him to go with Swaggy here. And to no one's surprise, like a sensible person, he responds very quickly and selects Swaggy with the 4th overall pick. And that will bring up Mr. Saranchus himself. Dramatic music? Let me see what I can do. They don't really give you a whole lot of options here, guys. Maybe Feeding the Ducks. That's what this one's called. This one's called Feeding the Ducks. Maybe it'll be dramatic. Tio has responded, so he is at least aware that he's on the clock. And the pick is Sup. LTO takes the Sup right here. Was not expecting that, honestly. I figured he was going to go Restless. All right. Sup goes off the board. Only 2 true B minuses left, or B pluses left. Kirko is, like I said, he can go either way. That brings up at Bazo Bear. I imagine he will take one of the 2 right here. Ski Halls or Kirko here. Oh, I just skipped so many people. I skipped so many people. Hashimi, you're up. All right, Hashimi's on the clock. Sween has just arrived and is trying to get blue instead of clumsy here. But also Hashimi just picked blue. There we go. Pick is in, and Hashimi is going to take blue here. And that will bring up Apollo. Which I have his pick here. Let me see. He sent me his list. So, okay. He's going to take Ski Halls. Oh, wrong guy. Which brings up Bazo, who I believe he already told me who he was picking. Yeah, Bazo selects Kirko. Which brings up Carnage, who has complete free reign of the B minuses right here. All right. I have no idea if this is a good pick or not. I don't know who this guy is, but Temp ML is going off the board to Carnage here. This is a player that was not around when I was playing about a year ago, so not familiar with him. But Carnage is going to take Temp ML here, which brings up Prom. Eki goes off the board to Prom here. Solid pick. Eki has improved a lot over the past year or so. This brings up Mr. Corn. With still pretty much free reign of the B minuses here, as most of them are still available. And Foggle will have the All right. Miho is going to take Caldera. And Foggle will take Edgeland. And then it's Foggle's pick again. All right, Foggle's going to take Freedom. Miho takes Mystic Swaggy. Which brings up Prom again. Mendo's still available right here. Expect to see him go pretty soon. right. Mendo goes to prom here. After a much heated debate, after captains haven't read the rules, even though they've had 24 hours to do so. This will bring up Carnage. And Cyan will go off the board. Which brings up Bazo? No. Which brings up Pattis after the trade. So this is where our trade comes into effect. Last night, Bazo and Pattis swapped picks. So Pattis moved up in the second, and Bazo moved up in the third. And Zan will be selecting for Pattis here. And Garvey is the pick. No surprise there. That's really the reason I think that Pattis decided to move up so high, was to make sure he got one of the Australians right there. That brings up Apollo, who I have his list in here somewhere. Let me see. So the best player available for him is, it's like Pack, I think. Oh, no, he has Jogden ahead of Pack. So Jogden will go off the board here to Apollo. And then that will bring up Hashimi, who can either take Pack or the top C plus. And after that, we'll have the Nets pick. So Pack will have to be one of the Nets 2 picks either way, either to Hashimi or LTO. So I got Hashimi up now. LTO after him. He can pick any player from the C pluses. He can, yes. Okay. So Hashimi here is going to take Cricket. It's not really a big surprise. He played with him on Aliens. This means that Tio here will take Alpaxo. Let me update that. So we got Tio, Alpaxo, and Hashimi on Cricken, which will bring up Scum. Scumsy making his selection right now. Swaggy, if you're in the chat, if you want to pick for Scumsy, that would be fine. Since he's unresponsive. Or I will auto pick Colossus for him in the next 30 seconds or so. All right. Well, with that, Scumsy is going to take Colossus here, get him off the board. Since no pick has been made. Let's see. And then that'll bring up Swain. We had the 2.10 to pick here. Swain is going to take Healthy here. Which will bring up Bazo. Bazo will take Xeno here. Who was the reason he traded back originally in the first place, which will bring up Veggie, who is letting Bazo draft for him. He wants Laguiza, apparently. Okay, that's cool. And then he gets to pick again. And Rich Mills. Which will bring up Veggie would pick Luco. All the captains are saying Veggie would pick Luco. Well, let's just get it straight from the source. All right, we had some discussions here in the captain's chat. Veggie's going to take Luco here instead of Rich Mills. He designated Bazo as his drafter, and so in the interest of fairness, Bazo did the right thing in taking who he thought Veggie would want. All the captains, however, believed that if Luco was still available, that Veggie would have taken Luco, and since Veggie did not send a list, I'm going to give Luco to Veggie, and if he comes back and changes his mind later, I'll let them redraft the last round. But we believe Luco is the most fair pick. We're going to let that stand. Which means that Bazo can now choose any of the 4 of these players right here. Okay. Bazo is going to take Rich Mills here himself, and he's going to in the hopes that when Veggie is back and able to respond, that he will get a. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that he will be able to swap with him. So Swain is up. Okay, Swain will take Perk. That brings up Scumsy. goodness. Okay. It's gonna take ball sack. All right, which brings up LTO. Miho, I tried to get Casual to sign up, but I couldn't get any replies out of him on either of his Discords or anything. So couldn't get a message back from him. Theo's typing right now. Put his pick in. He's going to take a European. Now we're waiting on Tio to pick a C player here. Doesn't have to take Puffy, so we're waiting on that. He's going to take Veltz. No idea who that is, but got a cool name, though. So there's that. And then Hashimi. Thank you of the day. And then let's see, Apollo. Let's see, I have his list on here. he had Pirtle. He had Spud above him. Uaday, Puffy. I think Puffy's his highest. Xeno, Louise. Yeah, these guys are all C pluses. So Puffy goes to Apollo here. Okay, and that's going to bring up Pattis. Have Fire make the pick. Good grief, dude. People passing it off to different people. Oh, there we go. Zan gonna take Pirtle. That'll bring up Carnage. Got Carnage, Prom, Miho, and Foggle with Obo, Spud, Qui-Gon, and Quack. Spud going to Carnage. And that brings up Prom. Prom using the trying to get an Amazon code out of Miho if he takes Qui-Gon so that Miho doesn't have to. All right. Prom's taking me. Which means that Miho wants Quack. Which means that Foggle ends with Qui-Gon. And that concludes the draft right there. So to go over the teams, we have got Veggie, Fire, Laguiza, and Luco. We've got Pattis, Zan, Garvey, and Pirtle. We've got Sween, Clumsy, Healthy, and Perk. Scumsy, Swaggy, Colossus, and Ballsack. LTO, Sup, Paxo, and Velts. Hashimi, Blue, Cricken, and Euladay. Apollo, Skials, Jogden, and Puffy. Bazo, Kirko, Zeno, and Rich Mills. Carnage, Temp, Cyan, and Spud. Prom, Eki, Mendo, and Hobo. And Miho, Caldera, Mystic, and Quack. And finally, Foggle, Etzland, Freedom, and Qui-Gon. That is the end of the draft for the double elimination tournament. And we will start matches a week from yesterday on Friday. I'll be posting the schedule and everything else this next week. Thank you guys for joining for the stream. And that concludes the draft right there.